It doesn't matter if a car is big. It matters if it feels big, if it looks big, if it drives big. The 2017 Acura MDX Sport Hybrid is big. It has a third row that's not just for legless subway riders, a second row that fits above average humans and the same cargo space, despite the extra hybrid tech, as the non-hybrid version. But it doesn't feel big, look big or drive big. That's what a few electric motors will do for an SUV. The new MDX Sport Hybrid, on sale in late April, early May, adds 31 horsepower over its gas-powered twin for 321 horsepower total, while also getting 45% better city mileage at 26 miles per gallon. The reason? It has the powertrain from the Acura NSX. Well, not the NSX's exact powertrain. For starters, it's laid out in reverse, but it's a powertrain strikingly similar to the company's latest hybrid supercar. The Sport Hybrid, super handling all-wheel drive MDX, we're going with SHSHAWD again, gets a 3.0-liter V6 up front and a 7-speed dual-clutch transmission with an integrated electric motor in the middle. That's followed by the intelligent power unit, the battery pack providing power to the front and rear motors, then the power control unit, dictating the system's power management, and finally to the twin, 36 horsepower, 54 pounds-to-foot electric motors directly connected to the rear axle for torque vectoring duties. The NSX has the same twin motor setup, but at the front axle. In the NSX, the system is supposed to be noticeable, says Gary Robinson, Acura's product planning manager. In the MDX, it works behind the scenes. The 7-seater got a mid-cycle refresh this year with new sheet metal from the A-pillar forward. That's great considering we'd all like to forget the pointy beak, shield days of the past. Acura just got over its bangle moment. The new front end is stylish, some might say busy, with dual I-style headlights and fog lights, a huge Acura logo and a grille that brings your eyes right to it. We'd say the last model was restrained in front. This one is anything but. Between the comfort setting and the coddling seats, the MDX Sport Hybrid transports its occupants on a cloud of leather and technology. Even in its softest setting, though, it doesn't feel big or unwieldy at the steering wheel. Looking into that third row, it doesn't seem that far back. I adjusted the driver's seat for myself, hopped in the second row and did the same, then crawled into the third row. The second row folds down with a button push, but it doesn't get completely out of the way. At 5'10", I fit with my feet flat on the floor, though my knees were up a bit, and I can honestly say I could have ridden there for an hour without complaint. Well, I would have complained, but my heart wouldn't have been in it. One weird thing, there's a bump in the ceiling above the left third row passenger, a seatbelt anchor, and it takes up an inch or two of headroom. If you're riding solo back there, stay on the right. Even though I love the front seats, the rest of the dash and instrument panel don't feel super luxurious. It has an upper and lower screen, but the lower one just features more buttons, one's harder to hit at speed. I do enjoy having the navigation on the upper monitor constantly, but I think a smoother, single-screen setup would look more coherent. There's a knob for volume, but radio tuning is done by jabbing at the lower screen, not easy to hit while keeping your eyes on the road. There isn't a head-up display, either, which is peculiar for the class of vehicle. Other than the central area, the dash has a clean look with porous, matte wood grain accents. It has the company's push-button transmission, freeing some space, but it's semi-annoying to learn and use. Acura had the Lexus and Infiniti competitors to drive, and going back to back, the MDX was the most enjoyable to pilot by a long shot. Of course, both of those competitors use whiny CVTs while the MDX has a DCT, much better for spirited driving. In Sport or Sport Plus mode, the MDX is genuinely fun to drive for a 7-passenger SUV. Like I said, the electric torque off the line makes it feel a size smaller than it really is. In those modes, the steering firms up. In normal and comfort modes, it's a little lazy, and the chassis tightens down. In Sport, the 7-speed does a great job picking gears and downshifting, important, considering the speed of the shifts isn't neck-snapping, and I'm pretty sure the steering wheel paddles are just for show. However, it suffers none of the slow-speed jerkiness that quicker dual-clutch transmissions do. Washington State's soaked back roads were no match for the MDX. It felt planted in turns, especially when on the throttle. The twin-motor torque vectoring system sends power to the outside rear wheel around sweepers, setting the SUV up for quick directional changes without much body roll. Standing water puddles didn't do much to upset the balance, either. The V6 in the MDX is quiet and unobtrusive when stopping and starting for fuel saving. In the more efficient driving modes, it cuts out as soon as you let off the throttle. It does feel good when the engine turns off as you're exiting the expressway and stays off until you coast to a stop a mile or so down the road. It's rewarding to watch that battery meter move back toward the full reading. We tried the lane keeping and automatic cruise control on both the highway and country roads. The cruise worked well, and the distance it leaves between cars is shorter than you'd expect. That means fewer people can cut you off and slow you down even more. The lane keeping still needs a little work. It was good for keeping the MDX in between the lines on the highway, but it only read the lane markings about half the time on the back roads. You really can't take your attention away from the wheel or traffic, ever. Until these systems can do that, count us out. The MDX Hybrid isn't recommended for towing, so keep that in mind as well.